Savage Dragon 67 from September of 1999. Super Patriot versus Dark Lord, round one. Excellent cover here, really telling a story with Super Patriot aiming his sights at his grandson, the Dark Lord, and then Malcolm Dragon stepping in the way to save his friend. I love that baby Dark Lord is playing around with that globe of the earth and a rocket. Also, this is Malcolm Dragon's first cover appearance. He'll have plenty more later, but this is his first. On to the credits. Larson, Eliopoulos, and Rude are the creative team, and Josh Eckhorn couldn't get laid at a monkey whorehouse with a bag full of bananas. Easy for him to say. All right, so Justice. Yes, Super Patriot's son, Justice, from the hospital bed. He cries out to his father to warn him, tell him about this mysterious organization, the Covenant of the Sword, and they are holding his daughter Liberty captive. So now we already know that the Covenant of the Sword, they have faked the deaths of Dragon's son Malcolm and his wife Jennifer. So they're in possession of Dragon's family as well. And now that Super Patriot is aware of the Covenant's plans, this is exciting. We might get a family reunion because it's been over 30 issues and 3 years since Malcolm was secretly kidnapped and presumed dead. Which brings me to Dragon's other child, Angel, who is currently being babysat by Officer Alex Wilde. And she's running around the house with a cape around her neck, jumping on the furniture, screaming, "I'm Superwoman." So strangely enough, this ties into the Superman Savage Dragon crossover. Published around the same time, November of 99, Superman Savage Dragon Metropolis was DC's contribution to the crossover. And then Eric Larson would produce the follow-up, Chicago, taking place in 2002. So I'll look at both of these later. But the point is, at the end of this story, Dragon gets on the phone with Angel and tells her that he's going to bring her home a present, which turns out to be Superman's cape. So now we've got Angel wearing the cape in issue 67. So this puts Superman Metropolis into the Savage Dragon continuity in the Image universe. The ramifications are mind-blowing. So anyway, Angel says that she's not worried about her dad, who is missing. Of course, in the last issue, Dragon was shrunk down by a Martian shrinking ray. Obviously, he was fighting the tiny vicious circle, and he ended up getting swept into the sewers, confronted by some hungry rats. That's where we left it off. But it looks like, he killed the rats. And now this chick that's flying around with the ponytail, that's Lightning Bug. She was sent into the sewer by the vicious circle to try and find Dragon's body. And she finds him all right. He pops out of nowhere, snatches her by the neck, and then he threatens to snap her arm like a twig if she doesn't fly him back to the vicious circle hideout. That last panel is something else there. It's pretty funny, kind of suggestive. But nothing wrong with this. Double page splash of Super Patriot breaking into the Covenant, looking for his daughter Liberty, and he is wrecking these fools, tossing motherfuckers upside down, smashing their faces in. We're jumping back and forth between the Vicious Circle and the Covenant of the Sword, Dragon and Super Patriot. The Vicious Circle has reversed the Martian shrinking ray, returning themselves to normal size. And so Dragon sends out Lightning Bug, and she's like, "Hey guys, how about you shoot me with that gizmo?" And they're like, "Well, where's the dragon?" And she's like, "Oh, he's dead in the sewer." But the Vicious Circle, they have a telepath, this guy with the brain in a jar. And he's like, "Bullshit, she's lying. Dragon's right over there. Kill this chick." So I love how stupid this plan is and how easily it gets fucked up. There's a scramble for the shrink ray. Meanwhile, Super Patriot continues his assault into the Covenant facility, making his way into the nursery, where he runs into his grandkid, the Dark Lord. So Super Patriot decides that he's going to end this kid's life before he can turn into the villain that destroys the planet. Back with the dragon here. Somebody stomps or tries to stomp on him, but ends up destroying the shrink ray, and it explodes right near the dragon, sending him flying off. Meanwhile, Dark Lord is laying out his defense. He says he wants to make the world a better place. He has committed no crimes yet, and his death would only create another alternate reality, but nothing would change for the Super Patriot in this universe. But Super Patriot's heard enough. He goes to blow this kid's head off, when from out of nowhere, Jennifer, a.k.a. Smasher, lives up to her name, smashes the fuck out of Super Patriot's head right into the wall. So she knocks him out, carries him off like a toddler who fell asleep in the car ride home. Meanwhile, Dragon has escaped the vicious circle along with Lightning Bug, and he says that she should join the SOS. And then she says, hey, didn't you used to be shorter? Apparently the effects of the shrink ray are wearing off, or the explosion had some effect, but Dragon will be regular sized in the next issue. On to the letters page. Fanatics writing in their reactions to issue 65. And then this letter here asks for a list of everything that Erik Larsen has worked on. And Larsen obliges. So if you're looking for a good checklist of Larsen's work, he gives a list of everything he's worked on right here. Goes on to the next page. Yeah, more over there. But yeah, that's pretty cool. Funnily enough, there's another letter here asking for a list of every Savage Dragon appearance, and Larsen is like, I don't know, just stick to this book. Then there's a lengthy response to this letter that asks Larsen about his recent experience working for the Big Two, Marvel and DC, where Larsen says that his biggest beef was lack of control in the final product, where editors would make arbitrary changes to the dialogue, changing the story and his creative intent, which would obviously be frustrating. We got Dragonbert by Carl H., followed up by the sketchbook section, which I liked a lot, showing the trial and error process of creating the character design of the villain Darklord. So Larsen was inspired by the DC villain Darkseid, obviously, but he didn't want to rip the character off. And some of these are pretty damn close to Darkseid. And some of them are pretty cool looking, but they look a little, he says they look oafish or dumb. Like this one here might look familiar. He ends up as one of the Dark Lord's lackeys, Rackham. So to make sure the Dark Lord looks like an intelligent, smart victim or smart villain capable of taking over multiple worlds, the solution is to show that this guy has brains, literally, with his brain exposed. And that's what worked. He tweaks the outfit a little bit, but this is how Dark Lord ended up looking the way he does. I like this section a lot, but Larsen says not to expect more sketchbook pages because he usually just works this stuff out in the comic as he goes along. So he doesn't really use sketchbooks in his methodology. That leaves Don Simpson, Megaton Man back up here where the team goes to a comic convention. And then Desperate Times, which apparently Chris Eliopoulos had been sending samples of to the syndicates to see if he could get his strip published in the comic section of the newspapers. Obviously, it didn't happen, but that would have been pretty cool. That does it for this one. We got an ad for issue 70, Christmas Chicago style, and issue 68 is next.